I'm actually kind of running a little bit behind now because I took a nice TLC shower, but luckily I already didn't plan for an extravagant look for my birthday. You guys will see my outfit. It's really chill, laid back, honestly how I have spent like the majority half of my 22. And I feel like this next season I'm going in is just going to be a self-care, really paying attention to just myself and just being healthy overall. So yeah, my makeup, hair, and outfit will reflect the way that I'm gonna portray that, whatever. Okay, but really I need to stop playing around. I'm gonna do a voiceover for the makeup portion because look, I'm just trying to hurry up, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to hurry up and get it done and get it over with. So I'm kind of on time. I want to catch some pictures, but we'll see how that happens. I want to catch the sun. I want to catch some pictures in the sun, but we shall see. Okay, let's get started. Birthday makeup edition. What is up, Layahbabes? Okay, so I am starting off with my Ruby Kisses chocolate pencil brow pencil. I don't know why I said that backwards, but same steps per usual. Tracing the bottom, tracing the top, filling in, fade in the beginning. And for concealer today, I am using Deep Olive from e.l.f. Hydrating Concealers. This is my first time ever filming in my bathroom, well, a makeup tutorial in my bathroom, so I was just trying to get the feel of working with how far away my mirror was. So forgive me if I go out of frame at some moments. I'm just trying to see past the ring light and the stand in front of me and all the other stuff that was on the counter. This is a new product that e.l.f. came out with for their spring collection. This is their Flawless Brightening Concealer. I was assuming it's very similar to their hydrating concealers, but it's in a pen form, so maybe a little bit thinner consistency, but let's find out. You literally have to work it up because it's brand stinking new, but as soon as I swatched down the back of my hand, I was pretty shocked by the consistency. It is a lot thinner, so it's definitely one of those brightening concealers, but once we get to the face, you'll see how I was able to build it up in order to get the coverage I wanted. And then just taking a clean buffer brush, I'm just going to pack all of this concealer down so that I have a nice and even base, regardless of the fact that I'm not putting on eyeshadow right now. And right here I kind of jumped around a little bit, but I am just going to moisturize my skin first using the Pond's Dry Skin Cream Moisturizer. Regardless of what type of skin you have, I will always suggest to moisturize because your skin needs it. This is the only skin you get, so preserve it for as long as you can. This is just a oldie but a goodie moisturizer. You can use one that is of your preference, but yeah, this is one I like. Then I'm going to jump back to eyes and just set my brow bone only using the Anastasia banana powder. I finally was able to get my hands on it. This is actually the one for my kit, so I'm going to have to go get one for myself. But I was like, they can let me borrow it for a second just for the sake of the video. It's my birthday. Went to go pick up a new concealer today, but the only ones that they had in stock were the original 16-hour mattifying caramel concealers, but They're not horrible. I just would suggest to use a lot or a stronger moisturizer. So like this one is dry skin cream. It's a lot thicker in consistency, so it's gonna, you know, mix very well with this mattifying concealer. I'm just applying that in my T-zone and then going back in with that brightening concealer and using that right on the inner portions of my eye, working that in my inner tear duct area. And honestly, I just think e.l.f. realized how much we love the concealers, so they gave us a foundation. I used shade Tan 435. It definitely was way too light, so I'm gonna have to go back and try some more. But I mixed it with my trusty Maybelline Fit Me 338, and they made the perfect mixture. 338 sometimes a little bit too spicy for me, and this one was just a little bit too light, but together you can see the undertone of my skin, which is generally what I am matching to. And then I'm just going to pounce all of this stuff in at one step. So the reason why I do my concealer foundation all at the same time is just because it's just one even base, and I find that it just looks a lot smoother. Then I'm just switching over to a tapered brush so that I can get in those hard to reach areas, and same motions packing it down because I don't want to create any lines of demarcation with my brush bristles. If you have not tried the e.l.f. beauty sponges yet, you should definitely look into them. They're super soft and super affordable. They're almost like the Sonia Kashuk beauty sponge. I like those. Those can be found at Target, but those are a little bit more dense. The other one that I really am a fan of that y'all already knew was the Real Technique sponge. But yes, let's move on to contour. This is the e.l.f. Deep Ebony, so it gives me a little bit more of like a caramel undertone, which is very similar to my own undertone. To contour the natural hollows of my face. And then I'm going back in with that highlighting pen. This is where I told you guys how I'm going to build up that coverage, because it is bright, but it's not as bright as I like. This is preference. So I'm just going in my inner tear duct area and along the bridge of my nose, just to give it a little bit more of a highlight. And taking that same foundation brush, I'm just going to pounce this contour shade in. So you want to be very particular with where you're pouncing this, and just be patient with you guys. Just take your time, and look, if you're doing contour, you got time, okay? Because if you don't have time, you should not be doing contour. Just skip ahead to bronzer, okay? Just don't even do this step. But if you were actually taking the time to do contour, you have time. So act like it and take your time to blend it in to make sure you get the most out of your look. Blending is all about the tools that you use, so switching in between the bigger and smaller brushes, and knowing to use a dense brush, a fluffy brush, something that's angled or not, is all about how your finished product is gonna look. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that and you are local in Arizona, you can book a one-on-one with me, or I will be offering virtual one-on-ones again. I was offering those at the beginning of March last year, but then I took them off my website. But you guys have been inquiring, for those of you guys who are not local, so I will be offering those again very soon, so be on the lookout. Now it's time to preserve this highlight that we did in our T-zone. So I'm going to use the Anastasia banana powder. And you guys, I actually think I might have found a new powder that I'm in love with, especially because Juvia's Place has been out of Kalahari in every single Ulta that I've went into. So I might just have to suck it up and buy it online, although I didn't want to. So This will be my alternative for now until I just, decide to get it again. But my little trick to applying under eye bake is to only bake that inner portion closest to the bridge of your nose, because that's essentially where you want to keep the brightest part, as opposed to it being all of the under eye, and then just making sure it diffuses nicely towards the cheekbone area. And I want a very matte, flawless base first, starting off before we go in with our highlight and hydrating mist. So I'm going in with the MAC NC 50 Studio Fix powder, and I'm just pressing that around everywhere where there's just like foundation, veiling a little bit over my contour just to make sure it's nice and smooth. And now I'm going to bronze over top of that contour area, but see how I'm using very wide strokes, but still circummotions? But they're also very precise. I don't know if it really makes sense, but I can show you better than I can tell you. And I'm just taking that along just everywhere that I contoured. Just using a clean eyeshadow brush because it's smaller and going over where I contoured on my nose. So I decided that it was a good idea to wash my brushes prior to recording this video. So the brush that I would have used for this step was wet at the time. So it's basically just a wider version of this, but you want to pack down your loose powder into your concealer because, again, it's a loose powder, so it's probably going to stick to some areas, probably not going to stick to other areas. So just to ensure that it does, pack it all down. This is something new that I haven't tried before, but it's just going in with my sponge and the pressed powder. This is 330 from Maybelline Fit Me. Really was feeling it. I just had to improvise because, like I said, the brush that I would have used for this step was wet. But I really love the finish of it, and I think this is how I'm going to start applying my powder underneath of my eyes from here on out. This is like that accidental becomes a sticker. And now I'm going in with blush, and I'm using Motive's Ginger Blush. It's just this really pretty tangerine orange color that I felt like gave me a nice flesh undertone, which will also mimic my eyeshadow that I'm going to be doing. And you guys know I am a fan of rehydrating the skin and then pouncing all of that in to make sure it looks nice and smooth and even. And the only eyeshadow palette that I'm using today is the Makeup by Jaw Clientele palette in collaboration with Be Perfect Cosmetics. And I am packing that first shade all over my lid in no rhyme or reason, just on a fluffy brush. And then dipping into Brownie and packing that right on my lid. Sorry, it was Boy Toy in my crease and then Brownie on my lid. Same thing on my lower lash line with the exact same brush. And I did dip into a different palette for the highlighter. This was actually an oldie that I pulled out of my makeup drawer. If you guys are familiar with It's My Ray Ray in collaboration with BH Cosmetics. This is the Moonlight highlighter that's in that palette. It was actually a really cute palette, but when I tell you guys, I very rarely ever used it, which is why I forgot about it. But this gives me a nice iridescent gold highlight, which just, goes with the warmth that I was trying to give it. When I tell you guys I am in love with these lashes that my client gave me. Her name is Michaela, but this is her hair company. She actually did my unit, dyed it, installed it, cut it, the whole shebang. This is her headband. These are her lashes. She's currently in the process of rebranding, so stay on the lookout for that. I'll be sure to give you guys that information either in a YouTube video or on my Instagram. So be on the lookout, because when I tell you, it's giving, okay? It is very much so giving. And now for the lip, I am taking NK Makeup Cocoa Lip Liner. I actually just recently found out that they do have an Instagram. So I will leave that on the screen for you guys, so that you guys can check them out if you want to order online. You do not have to go to your local beauty supply store, especially if you do not have one that sells these products. It just so happens that they're only sold locally at beauty supply stores. I guess that's because that's where they get the most traction. But I tried to try something new, you guys, thinking that it was just gonna be a lip gloss. Definitely not. This is a lip glaze like paint. Absolutely not. I feel like it would be good if it was just like the first step that I did. But yes, I definitely had to go back in with my lip liner to go over top of that to tone it down 1,000. Because it was too much for me, too much, and it was not giving me the actual gloss that I wanted, so I just went in with a clear gloss over top. But yes, you guys, this is the completed look. I will insert some pictures of what I wore to dinner that night, but I ended up just going to dinner with my boyfriend. It was a great time, great way to bring in my birthday, and I thank you guys for all of the birthday wishes. Stay tuned for that vlog that's coming. Have me on Instagram. You already know that we will be having a new camera quality. Thank you to my parents, because they got me a new camera, so stay tuned for new videos with the updated camera and the new quality and all that jazz. So I love you, Layahbabes, and I will see you in the next video.